The burden has been heavy, and the weight of these past choices, I want to say, is almost too much to bear. Something is definitely shifting today for this 4-4 portal, and I do feel the masculine is breaking free from these toxic ties. And let's face it, it's never easy to break free. And I do feel it's seeming almost impossible, yet liberation, it is closer than you think. And so there is a breakthrough here just around the corner, and it is going to transform the masculine's path forward. So are you ready to uncover the karmic cycle that's coming to an end? Hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, and let's get into today's message. Hey, good morning. Welcome in. Welcome back, everybody. Let's talk about these energies coming in today for the 4-4 portal. We've got a pretty significant day, numerologically speaking. 4-4-2025, it does break down to the number 17, which is connected to the star card in the tarot. And so this is all about healing in these energies today, and especially connected to the twin flame collective. We've got several astrological transits playing out for the 4-4 portal. We do have Mars in a sextile to Uranus and in a trine to Saturn. We also have Saturn in a sextile to Uranus, and that moon transiting through Cancer is going to be in a square aspect to the sun in Aries. And so cardinal placements, you're probably feeling this energy very prominently. It was feeling tense. It was feeling triggering. And I do feel this is connected to the twin flame collective, because I was shown the Queen of Wands in reverse, channeling these energies. There's a very prominent shadowy karmic feminine energy coming through that I feel is manipulative, that is controlling, that is a very jealous energy, trying to pull the masculine back, trying to keep the masculine stuck, because she was shown to me with the Two of Swords in reversed. I was also shown the Four of Swords with the Ace of Swords. The Devil card also came through, and I was also shown the Temperance card with the Fool. And so we're on the precipice of a brand new cycle, of a brand new beginning. We're going to go deeper into the astrology later in the extended after we pull some cards. But let's talk about this very manipulative, controlling, jealous feminine energy. This could be somebody, I want to say, actively trying to create confusion and blocking the masculine's progress towards the divine feminine. And so there's somebody here, I gotta say, that is emotionally manipulative, keeping the masculine stuck. It's like he's torn. He's torn between this obligation, because there's a deep past life soul tie here coming through, and he's torn between that and his loyalty to his path and the feminine. And this is all due to past life connections, right? And so there is this desire, I want to say, for liberation today. And so there's going to be a very powerful opportunity in the energies today for a fresh start. But we're going to have to keep that balance. We're going to have to stay spiritually aligned, as the divine masculine is called to face all of these challenges. And so this all connects, right, with the astrology. Mars in Cancer, sextile Uranus and Taurus. This is urging the masculine to break free from this emotionally stifling situation. The divine masculine, I feel, is recognizing the toxic influence of this karmic feminine, and he's going to have to find his motivation to free himself. Mars in Cancer, once again, trying that Saturn in Pisces. We're still in that post-retrograde energy of Mars in Cancer. But this really is a time of the divine masculine stepping into emotional maturation. But he's got to be willing to face this very uncomfortable truth coming forward. And so the energies really are supporting the masculine to step forward. It is leading him into a breakthrough energy. Saturn in Pisces, sextile Uranus and Taurus. This is all about balancing stability and change all at the same time. And so there's a mirroring energy where the masculine knows he needs to break free from this karmic cycle. And he also has to step into emotional integrity. And so I think there's like a hang up here connected to stepping into that truth, especially with the moon in Cancer in a square to the sun in Aries. And so that's where this inner conflict is coming in at. And I do feel the masculine is struggling. He's struggling between nurturing this karmic connection and choosing the new bold path with the divine feminine. And so I just want to say we're in this battle. I want to say the twin flames are in this battle for karmic freedom during this portal energy today. And the masculine really is at that crossroads. And so is he going to maintain this karmic loop with that Queen of Wands reversed and that devil energy that I saw? Or is he going to choose to break free and embrace his truth, no matter how difficult that will be? Because this is a very strong karmic feminine energy that I feel is actively trying to maintain control. And I think the masculine is on the verge of a breakdown in order for a breakthrough. And so he's going to have to gain that clarity. He's going to have to defend himself, and he's going to have to choose to stand against all of this toxicity and trust the process of healing and transformation. And so let's dig a little bit deeper here with the cards. Let's see what the cards have to say. We'll go deeper into the astrology in the extended. So stick around and let's see what today's message has in store for the twins. All right, let's jump right in, because it does seem that these cards are indicating that the divine masculine is on the verge of a major breakthrough. I also feel the divine feminine is remaining grounded. I just feel the divine feminine here is spiritually aligned. And I do think this connects to yesterday's message. I don't see divine feminine energy coming through at all today. That this is a strong focus today on the divine masculine and the divine masculine collective. And so divine feminine, stay open to the possibility of this renewed partnership, because we did get love partnership on the bottom of the deck with the oracle message. And so this is hinting at a potential reconnection, but this is all going to be contingent on the masculine breaking free from pride, right? We got pride that came out from this karmic interference. And I do feel you've got to safeguard your energy, right? You've got to keep that inner peace while the masculine goes through this very intense transformation. So there might not be movement, I want to say, until that 7/7 portal, because the masculine right now, I feel, is dealing with, I want to say, a lot of karmic debt, right? 19 is a number that resonates with the Sun card in the tarot. It does represent illumination, ego, self-realization. It is a karmic debt number. And so this does warn of needing to let go of pride. I do think that's a block connected to growth within this connection. And I do feel this does tie in to the astrology, where the masculine may be struggling with pride, especially when it comes to admitting that a karmic feminine influence has been manipulating him or controlling him. And so I do feel this is a push, I want to say, though, for a sudden breakthrough. That's really what this is feeling like today. And so basically the divine masculine must choose to break free from his own ego traps, and the ego traps set out by that karmic energy. And this will require stepping into authenticity, even if it means admitting past mistakes. And I think that really is what is holding the masculine back. Pride, right? Pride really is that barrier to liberation. Let's talk about the spirituality card, because it is connected, I want to say, to the upcoming 7-7 portal. We're in the 4-4 portal now. So the 7-7 portal is about 3 months away, but I do feel this is an indication of spiritual awakening, right? 7 is a divinely guided heavenly number, and it is tied to truth. It is tied to aligning with that higher purpose. And so I do feel the masculine is being tested. You are also being tested, divine feminine. Can you remain in faith through the masculine's challenges in these energies? And so there is a blending, I want to say. The masculine is being asked to trust. He's being asked to trust in his spiritual growth rather than clinging to the familiar and these toxic patterns. And so I think he's at a pivotal spiritual turning point, gaining insights, realizing like, hey, he needs to break free. He needs to heal. And I do feel this energy really is showing that that karmic influence is going to try to provoke defensive reactions out of the masculine. But true freedom will come for him after that spiritual clarity comes through. It's not in combat. And so I just feel the divine masculine's path forward in this message is saying it's going to require spiritual discernment, right? And the feminine, you are guided to maintain in that energy of spiritual alignment. Hold that space without the attachment, because the masculine must lean in to his spiritual truth rather than allowing that karmic entanglement to cloud his vision. And then we get the rebirth card. As you can see, it is a 16 card, another karmic debt number. It does relate to the Tower card. And so I do think there is sudden upheaval. I really do. I think this portal is bringing in profound transformation. It's bringing in some type of tower. And so wherever the masculine has been resisting this change, this is leading to an abrupt breakdown. And I do feel this is highlighting that tension with the moon in Cancer square the sun in Aries. And so there's tension between emotional safety and that desire for independence. And so I think the masculine is experiencing an internal collapse. He's realizing that holding on to this karmic tie out of pride or fear is no longer viable. This change is happening whether the masculine wants it to happen or not. And there is going to be a very messy and uncomfortable but necessary rebirth. The masculine is shedding these old patterns tied to that karmic interference. And the feminine too, you must also release any residual fears or doubts about this union's potential, right? Because what we don't see happening below the surface is this energy of a love partnership. And so I do feel there's strength energy coming through. There's resilience, there's courage. There is this energy signifying a new passionate beginning. I always feel the Page of Wands here. And so once the masculine is freed from that karmic pride and reborn through this spiritual clarity, he's going to be prepared to connect and reconnect with the divine feminine counterpart. But he's going to have to go through this rebirth and this renewal, and he's going to have that balanced heart, right? He's going to have that alchemy between the head and the heart. And so I feel this really is a hint at that emotional maturity and overcoming impulsiveness. This energy really is supporting the divine masculine to take a bold, heartfelt step towards reconciliation or reunion. And so a fresh start in love, it is possible. I do feel it's possible, but the karmic patterns need to be released. Remain open-hearted, divine feminine, yet at the same time, you also have to stay discerning, because the masculine may approach with a new offer, but is it genuine? So really keep that perspective in check. So let's dig into this tarot, because I do feel the masculine is feeling mentally overwhelmed. I do feel he's feeling conflicted, and there is a strong sense coming through of battling distorted truths. And I do feel this is suggesting, hey, he's acted recklessly, right? Maybe he's even spoken out of turn. I do think he's driven by impulse, though. And these thoughts that are kind of washing over the masculine are influenced by this karmic interference. And so I do feel there is this energy of mental chaos, but I think it is clearing up. And I do think he is starting to see the truth beyond the illusions. And I do feel there is a struggle here. There is a struggle for the masculine to own up truthfully and to clearly communicate this realization with the King of Swords in reversed. And so I do feel there is a little bit of a hint of manipulation from that karmic figure that does keep the masculine stuck in that pattern, in that loop. Let's get into the middle row here. 9 of Swords, 10 of Wands, the Star in reversed. And so emotionally, the masculine is starting to confront those fears, right? He's still feeling really heavily burdened, I want to say, by all of the consequences of his past decisions and choices. And the Star in reverse really is showing that struggle, I feel, for the masculine to feel hopeful, as all of the weight of his past actions are impacting all of this karmic energy around him, right? And so I do think that karmic energy is making him doubt his path forward towards the feminine. And this really is reflecting that tension between wanting that emotional safety and needing to face that hard truth. And so the masculine's heart is weary. There is a faint glimmer of hope in confronting this pain, though, I want to say, rather than avoiding it in these energies today. And let's get to the bottom row. The Hierophant, the Devil reversed, and the Death card, right? And so we see a hollowed out woman here, and we see her rib cages coming through, and then we see that Devil card in reversed. And so it's like a figure of a woman, right? And it looks like a mushroom. And so I don't know if like drugs have been a factor, or alcohol or substance abuse has been a factor in keeping the masculine entangled in, I want to say, a black widow's web. But the Hierophant, I love that the Hierophant came out. And so the masculine, I gotta say, is undergoing a very intense, major spiritual transformation. I do think he is seeking that spiritual truth, right? I really do. I do think he's seeking that spiritual guidance. And I do think he is realizing how deeply entrenched he's been in this toxic pattern. And I do feel with the Devil reversed, this is confirming his desire to break free from that karmic feminine's hold and that toxic attachment. And the Death card, well, we did have those bonus cards come out, right? The Death card come out with the Judgment card and the Lovers in reversed. And so that was a pretty strong message, and they kind of just fell out. And so I do feel a fallout here is taking place. I really do. And the Judgment card with the Lovers reversed is the signifier, I want to say, of this completion of this rebirth. And so he is being called to release that karmic cycle. He's being called to learn from the past and to accept this transformation, even if it means letting go of a relationship that was based on illusion or manipulation. And I think he's really struggled with that. But I do feel this is a clear indication of that karmic separation and letting go of that false connection in order to embrace his own spiritual path. And so let's just talk about the bottom of the deck, because we got the 10 of Swords, the King of Pentacles in reversed, the 7 of Wands in reversed, the 3 of Cups. And so this 3 of Cups, I always feel this energy of like jumping through hoops, keeping up with the Joneses. I always feel that energy of like keeping up with the Joneses. And then we get this King of Cups upright. And so I do feel the masculine is recovering from a very harsh major betrayal, a very harsh ending. And I think he does feel very insecure about his financial stability, right? Because he stayed stuck in that cycle due to materialism, due to money, right? He chose that money over love. And so I do think he's tired of the fight. He wants to break free from this materialistic imprisonment, is what it feels like. And I do think he's looking for supportive connections that will encourage his growth. And so I do feel that's the ultimate goal. It's like he's been swimming with the sharks here, but now he wants to emotionally mature and to come into that balanced energy, I want to say, with the divine feminine. So these energies are pretty loud. They're pretty prominent. The Twin Flame Collective is back online after, I feel, months of just kind of being in the shadows there. And so I do feel this is a message about breaking free from any toxic, emotional, outdated patterns. The energy today, this 4-4 portal energy, is supporting that spiritual freedom, but the masculine's going to have to break down that pride. I do think in a sense he's almost being forced to see the reality of the situation that he's created. And I do feel he is shedding that karmic tie. I really do feel that, and getting ready to embrace that higher path. And so some advice for the feminine: stay grounded. Stay balanced in these energies. Focus on your own healing rather than trying to intervene or to reach out to the counterpart. Embrace your own spiritual growth and trust that the masculine is breaking free from this karmic tie on his own terms, okay? Hold that compassionate space, but don't compromise your own integrity and your own well-being. The masculine has to go through his transformation independently, just like you had to go through your transformation independently. And so I know this reading is intense, but it's also bringing forward this sense of empowerment. So the masculine, I want to say, is in the process of shedding all of these old limitations. And I do think there's been growth, right? He's carried a burden for a long time, but this has created a lot of growth. And we are entering spring. I know we are already in spring, but where I'm at, we've been getting winter-like weather the last few days. So we got a little taste, a little tease, and then we're right back into the winter energy. But I do feel the divine masculine is at a pivotal moment on his journey. He's got to face those fears. He's got to break free from this karmic entanglement, and he's got to seek his own spiritual truth, right? And so this is a transformative process. It takes time, and we don't transform without that struggle, right? And so there is a guiding energy pushing the masculine towards authenticity and growth. And for the divine feminine, your goal right now, I say your guidance right now, I gotta say, is stay grounded. Just stay aligned with your own path while all of this happens below the scenes. And so in the extended reading, like I said, we're going to go further into the astrology and how this is impacting the twin flames and what you can do to work through the intensity of the energies today. We'll also dig further into the masculine's next steps after this breakthrough, the role of the karmic feminine and how her influence is shifting. We're going to dig into how the feminine can continue to nurture her own journey while holding space for the counterpart. And we're going to grab some oracle messages for some further guidance and confirmation. So, like I said, we're going to take a deeper look at the transits. We're going to see how all of this is influencing the twin flame collective energies in the coming days. So join me in the extended reading and we'll explore how these energies are going to unfold, what you can expect moving forward. The link to the extended is going to be in the description box below. I will see you over there.